Coming up on the Paper Talk today, we'll be giving you an update on the takeover, what is going on, and also what has Sir Jim Ratcliffe been saying about Bruno Fernandes in his new book. Plus, we'll have a few transfer targets as well, a couple of centre-backs and a striker. So let's check it out. Jay here for Stretford Paddock. This is the Paper Talk. As you can see, I'm outside Old Trafford, and yeah, it's raining. It's typical Mancunian weather, so make sure you've got your hoods up on your parkers. You might even want to take a brolly out with you. Also, make sure you are hitting like, share and subscribe. Loads of stories to get through. A little bit of a look back on what happened over the weekend. That defeat to Bournemouth. Not much though. We've done all that, so I'm not going to sort of labour the point that United were terrible and we need to up our game, especially with the fixtures we've got coming up. Bruno Fernandes, just on the Bournemouth game, has apologised. He said it's unacceptable and he said he's sorry. He said he's speaking about himself. That was after the game. He said those comments. They're still doing the rounds in the newspapers. It's interesting though, because Bruno Fernandes, of course, misses Sunday's game at Anfield. He picked up a booking, his 5th booking of the season. I think it was in the 84th minute for dissent, and it's so stupid. Getting a booking when the game's already done. All you've got to do now is avoid that booking so you don't miss the game at Anfield. He didn't. He got a booking. He isn't going to be able to play at Anfield, and it's really frustrating. And just talking to Bruno Fernandes, there's an interesting story doing the rounds in several papers. I saw it in the Daily Mail and one or two others this morning. Sir Jim Ratcliffe, you may remember him. He's the guy that's apparently going to buy a 25% stake in Manchester United. We'll get to that in a minute. He's written a book called, I think it's called Grit, Rigour and Humour. The Ineos story. A bit David Brent, that, isn't it? Oh, I'll tell you, but it's all about the humour. That's what I bring to this company. Anyway, he mentions the fact that he was in the, I think he was in the Pacific when he's watching a rugby match. I think it was a player from the Cook Islands, broke his leg and had to be taken away to hospital on the back of a pickup truck. And he says it's a far cry from Bruno Fernandes clutching his untouched face at Anfield, referencing the time last season when we got beat 7-0. I'm sure you'll remember it. Forgive me for bringing it up. And Bruno was criticised quite heavily by a lot of people for the fact he went down easily when some say his face didn't get touched. I think it did. Was it enough to send him off his feet? No. Let's not kid ourselves. And also some claiming, I think Gary Neville claimed that he didn't want to play in the game, or when it was time to get subbed, he was asking to get subbed. I don't think he was, because I think what he was saying, and I think he came out and said this, was he wanted to know where he had to go when the substitutions were made, because whenever United change something, especially in attack, usually he's moving. Is he in midfield? Is he off the striker? Is he on the right side? Mainly on the right side, and in midfield he's being used, of course. So that was what he was saying. But yeah, so Jim Ratcliffe firing a few shots in his new book at Bruno Fernandes. On the takeover front as well, we're expecting an announcement now before the end of the year. It is dragging on. It does keep getting pushed back. This is the Glazer family. This is what they do. We have this all the time with this takeover, with anything to do with them. They drag their heels. Now, because it's going to take quite a while to go through all the paperwork and everything else, we're looking at the end of the year. Personally, I don't know. I'm not ITK. I do think it's going to happen, this 25% takeover. I do think we're going to get that investment, that £245 million investment in the training ground. And I do think Sir Jim Ratcliffe is going to take over the footballing side of things. But it's dragging on because the Glazers couldn't organise, a Christmas party in a brewery, shall we say, if I keep my language clean. But as always, any updates, we'll keep you posted. Just on the transfer front, Manchester United have been linked with a few players. Been linked with a striker, Lois Openda. This is the kid from RB Leipzig. I think he's got 14 goals in 22 games. I think he's got for them. He scored a couple of goals against Manchester City in the Champions League as well. Someone that we're tracking, according to reports in the Manchester Evening News, we are tracking, and I think that's come from various other outlets as well. So one to keep an eye on. I do expect United to bring in somebody in January. Whether we're going to go big though, big signings, remains to be seen. Probably unlikely. We saw that interview that we spoke about last week with Erik ten Hag to United We Stand, where he mentioned things like financial fair play and not being able to spend loads of money in the transfer window in January. But United need to bring someone in. We have been obviously linked with Serhou Guirassy, the striker as well, but I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. There's talk that actually talks had opened up with Guirassy, and now we're looking at maybe tracking this kid, Lois Openda. So, as always, we'll keep you posted. I do think we do need a striker. You saw what happened on Saturday. Overly relying on Rasmus Højlund, which sounds a bit crazy to say you're relying on someone who hasn't got any Premier League goals, but we are. Anthony Martial, it was another poor performance from him. Can you rely on him? No. Can you play Marcus Rashford down the middle and rely on him? Probably not. So we need to bring in a striker. Maybe it's a Pender, maybe it's Garassi. As always, we will keep you posted if there's any developments, any updates, because at the moment there's a little bit of we've open talks, we're tracking all that sort of stuff. At the other end of the pitch, at the centre-back front, we've been linked with a couple of centre-backs as well. Obviously, Jean-Claire Todibo from Nice. Those rumours have been doing the rounds for a little while, and they're doing the rounds again this morning. I think I saw it in the Manchester Evening News that we're still looking at bringing him in from Nice. So Jim Ratcliffe, of course, owns Nice. Is that a conflict of interest? Or can he just say to the Nice manager, yeah, because that's how he talks, yeah, he's from Manchester, yeah, sell us Todibo, yo. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see, but we've been linked quite heavily with him. We've also been linked with Jonathan Tah from Bayer Leverkusen. Now, Bayer Leverkusen absolutely smashing it in the Bundesliga, top of the Bundesliga. Xabi Alonso doing good things there. We've been linked with their centre-back Tah, who scored 4 goals in 20 games. I mean, he's not obviously been brought in to score goals, I hope not. But he's one to keep an eye on. Maybe we could be in for him. Saying that, he's got 4 goals in 20 games and we buy him. We'll probably build the team around him here at United. That's how we roll at the minute, innit? Big games coming up, like I mentioned earlier. We've got Bayern Munich this week in the Champions League. I think that's Tuesday night. We've also got Liverpool on Sunday. Trip to Anfield. Yeah, there's something to look forward to. Coming up as well after that, I think we've got West Ham away. And then we've got Aston Villa at home. These are 4 pivotal games for Manchester United and for Erik ten Hag as well, under a bit of pressure following that Bournemouth defeat. Gary Neville was on the telly yesterday, I think it was over the weekend, saying that he thinks Manchester United should get behind the manager, back the manager, not sack the manager. I agree, but I don't know if that is going to happen. The game at Anfield worries me. We go out of the Champions League, which is likely because we can still beat Bayern Munich and go out anyway, and then lose heavily at Anfield. I think Erik ten Hag could be in all sorts of pressure. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Get involved in the chat in the comments. Let me know what you think. Let me know what you think about any of the players we have been linked with, and let me know what you think about this takeover or this 25% investment as well. I want to hear your thoughts. Don't forget as well, we're going to be in Dublin on the 28th of December. Come and join us if you can. It's going to be me, Howson, McCullough, Joe, and Wes Brown, the hardest man in all the town, at 28th of December. There's a link in the description. Come and join us. We'll have a laugh. We'll meet you guys, and it'll be a laugh. We did it last year, and it was just one of the best nights in my life. It was an ace. So if you can get along or come along, please do. Don't forget as well, we're going to be back later on with the Paddock podcast. Plus, we're going to be previewing that big game against Bayern Munich. Bayern Munich actually had a defeat over the weekend, and also Serge Gnabry, I think, is injured. So there you go. Easy. We'll win. What else do you need? It's all the stars lining up. Yeah, I'm worried about that one. We've just lost 3-0 at home to Bournemouth, and then we've got Bayern Munich coming here. And you just know that Harry Kane apparently, could end up proving a point, if not that he has to prove on. Just interesting on the Harry Kane front as well before I wrap up. Chris Wheeler did a piece, I think, in the Daily Mail, saying that Harry Kane was open to the move to Manchester United. Erik ten Hag wanted him at Manchester United, but United was scared about getting into some sort of protracted transfer negotiations with Daniel Levy, so didn't go all out for Harry Kane because they thought it wasn't going to happen, because Daniel Levy was reluctant to sell to another Premier League club. He had to sell Harry Kane, who was instructed, I think, by his board to sell him, but he didn't want to sell him to Manchester United, so it looked like United wanted him, but we're a bit like, this could end up being a thing where it drags on, and in the meantime, we miss out on other targets, so they focused on getting Onana, getting Mason Mount, getting Rasmus Højlund, of course. Interesting one, that. I would have loved to see Harry Kane in a red shirt, but he's not going to be in a United shirt, he's going to be in a Bayern Munich shirt, and I'm a little bit worried about that. Anyway, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. I'm Jay Motti. This has been the Paper Talk outside a pretty drizzly Old Trafford. Thanks for watching.